That is not true. If you file for bankruptcy, you get to keep most of your assets, such as house, car, uh, clothes, etc. It's a terrible idea to do that because if you make all sorts of charges for luxury goods before you file for bankruptcy, the creditor is going to seriously object to your discharge, and most likely, or at least they will object to dischargeability of that particular debt. So you will not only have bankruptcy on your record, but you will also end up with the repayment of that debt. It's a bad idea to get a lawyer who does not specialize in bankruptcy because bankruptcy is a very specialized area, and if somebody doesn't really know this area in depth, you may end up losing your assets that otherwise would be protected. Again, first of all, how much money you make is very subjective, and secondly, the test is to see what are the reasonable expenses of your household and whether the threshold after you subtract expenses from income, whether you qualify for Chapter 7 or 13. So there is no such thing as too much money. It's just a matter of your circumstances. Again, it's not true because once you file for bankruptcy, after you get a discharge, you will be able to get a house sometimes as soon as 1 or 2 years after the discharge of bankruptcy. And you will be able to get a car. Sometimes it takes longer to restore your credit when you're looking for a car than when you're looking for a house, though. Once you file for bankruptcy, the automatic stay gets into effect, which means all collection actions by the creditors are prohibited. And that's the most important thing. And bankruptcy, Chapter 7, from start to finish, takes approximately 4 months. Chapter 13 is longer, but you have a lot of benefits, and you get to keep your house if you got behind on your mortgage payments in a lot of cases. That is not inaccurate information. Medical bills are called to be an unsecured debt, and they're listed among other unsecured debts and are subject to a discharge in bankruptcy. I think it's irresponsible to not pay your bills and not being unable to pay your bills and not do anything about it, because sooner or later the creditors are going to garnish your wages and place liens on your house. Filing for bankruptcy could be a responsible thing to do in taking your life under your control. That is not true. Um, an individual may file for bankruptcy after the first bankruptcy was filed. 8 years thereafter, you can file for another Chapter 7, and 4 years since the first Chapter 7 bankruptcy is filed, is allowed to file for Chapter 13. Again, this is not true, even though sometimes it's beneficial for both husband and wife to file for bankruptcy. Um, in other situations, it makes more strategic sense to file for one of the spouses and leave another one out. So it's possible either way.